My wife transferred all our savings to a private account and ran off with her trainer. She doesn't know that. You had 20 years to learn how to love me properly, but you failed. Now I've found someone who truly understands me. That message came in at 2:47 a.m. while I was working the night shift at the Air Traffic Control Center at O'Hare Airport. My name is Marcus Chen, 45 years old, and I've been an air traffic controller for 22 years. When I opened my phone, there was another message, a screenshot of our joint bank account. Balance $0. I set the phone down and continued guiding a Boeing 747 to land. 8:47, heavy runway, 28L, cleared for landing. My voice remained calm, professional. No one in the control room knew that my wife had just emptied our $387,000 savings and disappeared with Derek, the 28-year-old fitness trainer she's been seeing at her gym for the past 18 months. I typed back, "Good luck, Lisa." Then I turned off my phone and went back to ensuring the safety of hundreds of planes in Chicago's airspace. What Lisa doesn't know is I've been preparing for this moment for the past 8 months. Lisa Martinez and I had been married for 20 years. We met when she was a flight attendant for American Airlines, and I was a young air traffic controller fresh out of training in Oklahoma City. She liked the stability my job offered, good salary, great benefits, generous vacation time. I liked how she brought excitement into my life with her stories from the skies and the places she'd been. We had a small wedding in Las Vegas, just 2 friends as witnesses. Lisa said she didn't need a big wedding, just a good marriage. The first 2 years were truly happy. We bought a house in Schaumburg, a 4-bedroom colonial with a big backyard, perfect for raising a family. We traveled the world thanks to Lisa's airline benefits. Hawaii, Europe, even an unforgettable trip to Australia. Lisa quit flying when she got pregnant with Emma in 2006, and 2 years later, we had Jake. She became a full-time mom, dedicating herself to raising our kids. I worked more to keep us financially stable, often taking overtime and weekend shifts. Life was peaceful, maybe a bit mundane, but stable until the kids grew up and Lisa started feeling confined. "I feel like I've lost myself," she said one night as we watched TV. 20 years, Marcus? 20 years I've just been your wife and the kids' mom. But where's Lisa? I tried to understand. I suggested she go back to school, pick up a hobby, even get a part-time job. But Lisa shut down all my suggestions. "You don't get it. You still have your job, your own identity. What about me?" The first signs came 18 months ago. Lisa signed up for a membership at Elite Fitness, a high-end gym in Schaumburg. "I need to get back in shape," she explained. "Look at me, Marcus. 20 years of marriage, and I look like a boring middle-aged mom." I supported her completely. Lisa had always been self-conscious about her appearance, and if the gym helped her feel better, I was more than willing to cover the 150-month membership. Then she started coming home later, saying she had extra sessions with her personal trainer, new workout clothes, expensive sneakers, even an Apple Watch to track her health. "Derek says I have potential to compete in fitness," she told me over dinner one night, her eyes sparkling with excitement I hadn't seen in years. "I'm thinking of giving it a shot." I nodded and kept eating, but something inside me clicked. In air traffic control, survival depends on noticing tiny changes before they become major problems. A plane veering off by just 1 degree can cause disaster if not corrected in time. Lisa was changing in ways I couldn't pinpoint, but my professional instinct told me something was off. Derek Kowalski. I remember the first time I heard that name. 28 years old, former college football player turned fitness trainer. Lisa started mentioning him more often. Derek said, "Derek thinks." "Derek recommends." I Googled him once. His Facebook profile showed a handsome, muscular guy with a confident smile. photos at the gym on the beach with fitness model clients. An Instagram perfect life a middle-aged man working in a control tower couldn't compete with. Lisa's appearance started to change. Her light brown hair became blonde highlights. She traded mom clothes for fitted athletic wear. She lost 25 pounds, her muscles toned her skin, glowing with an outdoor tan. "You look amazing, Lisa," I said sincerely one night as she got ready for a workout. "I'm proud of you." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Thanks, but I'm just getting started." 6 months ago, I discovered she was hiding purchases. Price tags cut off expensive gym clothes. Spa and beauty treatments paid in cash instead of our credit card. Protein shake supplements, even online nutrition courses. "You're spending a lot on the gym," I mentioned once while reviewing our bank statement. $800 this month. "I just want to treat myself," Lisa said, a bit defensive. "You work hard, I deserve care too." That's when I began Operation Overwatch, the code name I gave to my plan to protect our assets. Not because I didn't trust her, but because of professional habit. In air traffic control, we have contingency procedures for every scenario. Always a backup plan, always an emergency protocol. I started watching the small details. Lisa came home late on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Exactly her personal training days with Derek. She'd shower the moment she got back, even if she said it was just light cardio. Her phone was always face down, and she had changed her password from Emma's birthday to something I didn't know. Even our sex life changed. From 2-3 times a week down to 2-3 times a month. Lisa always had an excuse, sore from workouts, tired focusing on her fitness goals. And when we did make love, she seemed distant, like her mind was somewhere else. With someone else. "Are you happy in our marriage?" I asked one night as we lay in bed. "Why do you ask that? You seem distant lately." Lisa turned to me, her expression unreadable in the dark. "Marcus, we've been married for 20 years. Every couple goes through rough patches. That doesn't mean I don't love you." But she didn't say she loved me. She only said it didn't mean she didn't love me. And to an air traffic controller, that kind of linguistic ambiguity could mean the difference between life and death. I'm not the controlling or patriarchal type. In 20 years of marriage, I never once checked Lisa's phone, never once suspected her of cheating. But when enough red flags pile up, the survival instinct kicks in. In air traffic control, we have a rule: trust but verify. I began by separating our finances legally and discreetly. I opened a personal account at First National Bank, different from our joint account at Chase. The cover story: diversifying our banking relationships for better long-term interest rates. I redirected part of my paycheck, $1,200 a month, into that account via direct deposit. Not enough for Lisa to notice, but enough to quietly accumulate. Next was buying gold. Not because I feared economic collapse, but because gold is a bearer instrument. Whoever holds it, owns it. I purchased 50 ounces of gold bullion from Northwestern Precious Metals totaling around $95,000 and stored it in a secure safe at my workplace. Lisa never knew about the safe. It's in a high-security section of the airport. Third, I transferred some of our stock portfolio from our joint account to my brother Tommy in California. Tommy's a trustworthy pharmacist who has helped me navigate finances before. "Why are you doing this?" he asked over the phone. "Just a diversification strategy," I replied. "And maybe an insurance policy." Tommy understood. He'd gone through a brutal divorce 5 years ago. "I'll keep it safe for you." Finally, I established an LLC, Midair Consulting. Entirely legal. I occasionally do consulting work for aviation firms on air traffic optimization. Lisa knew about my side gigs, but not that I'd formalize them into a business entity. Through the LLC, I purchased a duplex rental property in El Jin for $185 and your $1,000, funded by refinancing our primary residence, a move Lisa approved under the pretense of home improvement. Lisa only knew about joint checking account $3,500 average balance, primary savings $387,000, my 401k $125,000. She had no idea about separate savings, $78,000, gold holdings, $95,000, stocks held by Tommy 60 cents $1,000, LLC assets, duplex in Elgin, $185,000 emergency fund at Employee Credit Union, $45,000. In total, Lisa thought we had about $15,000. In reality, I had protected another $470,000 she couldn't touch. Next came hiring a private investigator. Ray Morrison of Morrison Investigations, a former Chicago PD detective who specializes in matrimonial cases. His office was in an old building in Lincoln Park, nothing fancy but highly professional. "Are you sure you want to know the truth?" Ray asked during our first meeting, looking at me across a desk littered with case files. "Sometimes ignorance is bliss." "I need proof," I said. "If I'm wrong, I'll apologize to my wife and try to fix our marriage. But if I'm right, I need documentation to protect myself legally." Ray nodded. "My retainer is $2,500. Surveillance runs $150 an hour plus expenses. This could get expensive. Money's not the issue. Truth is." Ray started tailing Lisa that same week. He got photos of her and Derek at Elite Fitness in the parking lot after hours. They weren't just working out. They were clearly involved romantically. 2 weeks later, Ray handed me a manila envelope full of photos. Lisa and Derek at the downtown Marriott, kissing in the elevator, holding hands walking through Grant Park. Intimate gestures she hadn't given me in months. But the most painful image was of them standing in front of an apartment complex in Miami Beach. Derek pointing up at a third-floor unit. "They're planning to move," Ray explained, flipping through his notes. Derek has a brother, Mike Kowalski, who owns 3 gyms in the Miami-Dade area. They want Derek to relocate and open a 4th branch. Estimated startup cost around $400,000. I clenched the photos in my hand. "With my money. Looks that way. Mrs. Chen has been researching Miami real estate job markets, even schools for the kids. This isn't an impulsive affair. It's long-term planning." "Want me to continue surveillance?" Ray asked. "No need. I've seen enough." But I hadn't. I needed the timeline. When were they planning to leave? How would they access the funds? Was Lisa trying to manipulate me into signing any legal documents Ray kept digging for another week? The results were devastating. Lisa had already consulted a divorce attorney, not to file yet, but to understand her rights. She researched Illinois divorce laws, property division, alimony calculations. She knew exactly what she could claim. Worse yet, Derek had been pre-approved for the Miami apartment. The security deposit, $3,500, was paid in cash. Had to be Lisa's money. Derek's financials. Ray had ways to check showed he was barely scraping by on personal training income. "Marcus," Ray said at our final meeting, "your wife isn't just cheating. She's planning to divorce you, take half your assets, and disappear to Florida with her boyfriend. This is calculated Finan Khayal adultery." That night, I sat in my home office staring at the manila folder filled with evidence. 20 years of marriage, 2 kids, a house, a life. All set to collapse because Lisa decided she'd served more than what we had built together. But I didn't feel despair. I felt focused. This was an emergency situation, and I'd been trained to handle emergencies. It was time to implement the final phase of Operation Overwatch. Lisa's behavior became easier to predict once I knew what to look for. Every Tuesday and Thursday she had personal training sessions from 6 to 9 p.m. Saturday mornings were for group fitness classes. Sunday afternoons, occasional nutrition workshops. I started testing some theories. One Thursday night, I called Elite Fitness at 8:30 p.m. "Hi, I'd like to schedule a session with Derek Kowalski." "I'm sorry, sir. Derek left at 6 p.m. today. He doesn't do evening sessions on Thursdays." Lie number 1 confirmed. The following Saturday, I casually suggested, "Want to grab brunch after your gym session? There's a new place in Arlington Heights." "Can't, babe. My class runs until 1 p.m. Then I need recovery time. I'll be wiped out." At 11 a.m., I drove past Elite Fitness. The parking lot was nearly empty. No classes were in session. Lie number 2 confirmed. But the biggest revelation came from Emma, our 17-year-old daughter, sharp and observant, just like her mother used to be. One evening, while Lisa was at her workout, Emma knocked on my office door. "Dad, can we talk?" "Of course, sweetheart. What's on your mind?" She sat down, fidgeting with her phone. "Is Mom okay? She's been acting really weird lately." "Weird? How, secretive?" "She's always on her phone, but hangs up whenever Jake or I walk into the room, and sometimes I overhear her saying things like, 'our future' and 'fresh start' to someone." "It's not you, Dad. You're at work." My heart sank. Emma had noticed. Kids always do when their parents aren't being honest. "And there's something else," she went on. "Mom asked me if I'd be open to transferring schools. Said we might be moving somewhere warmer with better opportunities." "Did she mention where?" "Florida, specifically Miami. She said they have good arts programs there." Emma didn't know it, but she had just confirmed Lisa's timeline. They were planning to move right after Emma graduated high school in 8 months. "Dad," Emma's voice dropped, "are you and Mom getting a divorce?" This was the moment of truth. I could have lied, tried to protect her for a few more months, but she already suspected, and teenagers handle the truth better than lies. "Sweetheart, I don't know what's going to happen. But if anything does change, I promise. I'll make sure you and Jake are safe, loved, and cared for. That's my word." Emma nodded, tears in her eyes. "You don't deserve this." "No one deserves dishonesty in a relationship," I said. "And sometimes people make choices that hurt others. That's on them, not us." After she went to bed, I realized Lisa had crossed another red line. She wasn't just planning to leave me. She was planning to uproot our kids, disrupt Emma's senior year, and take them across the country to start over with her boyfriend. Unacceptable. I called my attorney. David Kim of Kim & Associates, recommended by my brother, was a seasoned matrimonial lawyer, Korean-American like me with experience handling high-asset divorces. His office downtown in a high-rise was professional without being intimidating. "Marcus, I reviewed the materials you sent," David said during our first meeting. "This is a very clear-cut case. We're talking adultery, planned abandonment, attempted asset concealment. Illinois is a no-fault state, but misconduct can still influence asset division and custody." "What are my options?" I asked. "Full custody of the children, majority of marital assets, possibly even alimony from Lisa if the court deems her conduct egregious enough. But we'll need a strategy." David walked me through the divorce process in Illinois. It usually takes 6 to 12 months. There's a discovery phase where both sides disclose assets attempts at mediation, and a final hearing if no settlement is reached. "The issue," David continued, "is Lisa's clearly planning something. If she files first, she gets the early advantage. If she disappears with the kids, we have a jurisdiction problem. So, what do? We let her implode, force her to act before she's ready." David's plan was elegant but required timing. We'd monitor her activity and wait for her to commit to the final move, then spring the trap. Meanwhile, I'd keep documenting financials' communication patterns, evidence of long-term planning. "One more thing," David warned. "You might be tempted to confront her. Don't. If she suspects you're onto her, she'll accelerate everything. Keep playing it normal." Playing normal was harder than managing airplanes in a thunderstorm. Every evening she came home late, every lie about great workouts. Every fake smile made me want to scream. But I kept a poker face. Asked about her day, helped with dinner, played with the kids. 2 weeks later, the breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Jake, our 15-year-old son. "Dad, Mom's been asking weird questions about money," he said. "What kind of questions? Like how much you make, where we keep savings, if we have life insurance." She said she wanted to be more involved with family finances. Red flag. Lisa had never cared about those details before. She was always fine letting me handle investments, taxes, insurance. Her sudden curiosity meant she was prepping for the divorce. "And Dad," Jake hesitated. "I found this in Mom's car." He handed me a brochure, Miami Beach tourist information. Inside were handwritten notes about school districts, cost of living, job opportunities. "I don't want to move, Dad. I have friends here. My basketball team, I don't want to start over." Another promise. "You won't have to. Not without a fight." That night, while Lisa was out working out, I decided to implement part of David's plan early. I needed to know exactly when she intended to pull the trigger. I installed monitoring software on the family computer, completely legal, as it was marital property. A keystroke logger to capture passwords, browser history tracking, email monitoring. Nothing on her personal devices, only the shared PC she used often. Within 3 days, I had the full picture. Lisa's emails with Derek spelled out their entire timeline. "Derek baby, just 6 more months and we're free. I'll file the papers in March, ask for a mediate separation. Marcus will be shocked and probably won't fight back right away. We'll have a window to move the money and relocate before he gets a lawyer." Lisa's sweetheart, Mike, confirmed the gym space in Miami Beach. "We need $350K to buy in as a partner. Your share from the divorce will cover that, plus our living expenses until we're profitable. As for the kids, Emma can finish high school in Miami. Lots of good programs. Jake will adjust. Kids are resilient." Reading those emails felt like a gut punch. Lisa wasn't just leaving me. She was calculating exactly how much money she could extract and using our kids as pawns. But the most devastating thread was from 2 weeks earlier. Derek, I consulted Attorney Smith. He said, "Under Illinois law, I can claim 50% of the known assets plus alimony. Marcus makes $125K a year, should be $4,000 month support for at least 5 years. With proceeds from selling the house, we'll have around $600K to start fresh." "Perfect, baby." Mike says with that capital, we can expand to 2 locations within 2 years. You'll be my business partner, not just a silent investor. I just need to be careful about the timing. Marcus is super methodical with finances. He'll know Tice if I move money too early. But once the divorce is filed, I'll legally be able to access the 8 accounts. She even calculated child support, $1.200 a month per kid, assuming she had primary custody. In her mind, Jake and Emma weren't children who needed stability. They were income sources. I printed everything and took it to David. "We've got everything," he said after reviewing the files. "Premeditated fraud, alienation of affection, attempted parental kidnapping. But Marcus, are you ready for the nuclear option?" "What's the nuclear option?" "We go public, file criminal charges for attempted financial theft, destroy her reputation. Once you pull that trigger, there's no reconciliation." I thought about 20 years with Lisa. The good and the bad. Emma and Jake asking why Mom and Dad had been acting strange. Lisa's smile on our wedding day, so bright, so hopeful, before life hardened her heart. I just want to protect my kids and the assets I earned. If reconciliation's possible, I'm open to it, but not if it means being financially ruined. Then here's the refined strategy, David said, pulling out a timeline. We wait for Lisa to make the first move. Let her file for divorce. Let her try to move the money. The second she commits fraud, we strike. Criminal charges, emergency custody orders, asset freezes. We hit her so hard that settlement is her only way out. Perfect. Lisa thought she was playing chess while I was playing checkers. Reality. It was the opposite. Over the next 6 weeks, I kept up the act, attended Emma's school events, helped Jake with basketball, planned Christmas like nothing was wrong. Lisa probably thought I was clueless about her double life. Meanwhile, I prepped comprehensive documentation, full financial records of all legitimate assets, proof of accounts. Lisa didn't know about kids' school and medical record statements of preference. Witness testimony from neighbors on Lisa's odd behavior. A psychologist's evaluation of the trauma relocation might cause the kids' Christmas Day 2023 was surreal. Lisa gave me an expensive watch-a-gift of guilt. I gave her a necklace she'd been eyeing. The kids were thrilled. From the outside, we looked like the perfect family. But I noticed Lisa recording video messages. Merry Christmas from our family to yours, with a bright, performative smile. Later, I discovered she sent those clips to Derek with the message, "Can't wait for next Christ Mass when it's just us." On New Year's Eve, Lisa suggested we go to a party at Elite Fitness. Derek invited all the members and their families, thought it'd be fun to socialize more. Massive red flag. She wanted me to meet Derek, probably to test my reaction or build a sense of normalcy before executing her plan. Sounds great, I said. I've been wanting to meet the guy who helped you transform so much. Her smile faltered. She hadn't expected enthusiasm. The party was awkward as expected. Derek played the part of polite professional perfectly. Marcus, Lisa's told me all about you. Air traffic control must be insanely stressful. It has its challenges, I said, shaking his hand with a firm grip. But I'm good at managing complex situations. Eye contact let him know. I wasn't intimidated. Lisa was visibly anxious the whole evening, but I played the doting husband, complimented the gym, talked fitness, told Derek Lisa looked amazing. Your wife's got incredible discipline, he said. She's made amazing progress. Yes, she has, I replied with a smile. When Lisa wants something, she goes all in. On the drive home, Lisa was quiet. Fun party, I said. Derek seems like a solid trainer. No wonder you enjoy working with him. Yeah, she mumbled. He's professional. She was studying me, gauging if I knew. Time to throw her off balance. Want to invite him over for dinner sometime. We're paying him so much, it might be nice to know him better. Her eyes widened. Oh, he's really busy. Probably wouldn't have time. Just a thought, anyway, ready for 2024. Definitely ready for a fresh start, she said softly. If only she knew how fresh that start would actually be. In the final days of December, Lisa became increasingly agitated. Always on her phone. Always in another room. She began asking subtle questions about my work schedule, business trips, and overtime. She was mapping out my movements, planning her escape. Marcus, when's your next recurrent training? She asked one morning over coffee. The FAA requires air traffic controllers to complete a week-long annual training, probably March or April, I replied casually. Why? Just wondering. I might do some spring cleaning while you're away, maybe redecorate. Another lie. Lisa was planning to use my training week as her window to execute. Move the money, file the papers, take the kids. But I had a countermeasure. Actually, I said, sipping my coffee, I might try to schedule it for February instead. Get it out of the way early. Her face tensed, barely perceptible. February. That's soon. Better early than late. Spring gets crazy in air traffic. She nodded, but I could see her recalculating. February would mess up her March timeline, force her to speed up or delay. Either way, pressure creates mistakes. That night, after the kids went to bed, I overheard her in the bedroom. No, he's saying February now. I don't know. Maybe we need to move faster. What if he suspects? I couldn't hear Derek's reply, but her tone said it all. You're right. We can't wait. I'll file next week. Yes, I can handle Marcus. They were accelerating. Perfect. The next morning, I called David. It's happening. They're speeding up. Good. That means they're feeling the heat, and pressure leads to mistakes. Are you ready? As ready as I'll ever be. Just remember, Marcus, once this starts, it moves fast. Lisa might try to play the victim, claim you're controlling, abusive, don't bite, stay calm, stay factual. I'd spent 22 years managing life and death emergencies in air traffic control, staying calm under pressure. That's what I do. Lisa had no idea what was coming. The final phase was about to begin. Reading those emails felt like taking a punch to the gut. Lisa wasn't just planning to leave me. She was calculating exactly how much money she could take, and she was using our children as bargaining chips in her scheme. But the most devastating email thread came from just 2 weeks ago. Derek, I consulted with Attorney Smith. He said, under Illinois law, I can claim 50% of all known assets plus alimony. Marcus makes $125K a year, so I can get around $4,000 a month in support for at least 5 years. Combined with proceeds from selling the house, we'd have close to $600K to start over. Perfect, baby. Mike said with that kind of capital, we could expand to 2 locations in the next 2 years. You'll be my business partner, not just a silent investor. I just have to be careful with timing. Marcus is very methodical with finances. He'll notice if I move money too early. But once I file the divorce papers, I'll have legal access to the accounts while the settlement is pending. She had even calculated child support, $200 a month per child, assuming she got primary custody. In her mind, Jake and Emma weren't children in need of stability, they were income sources. I printed every email and brought them to David. We have everything we need, he said after reviewing the evidence. Premeditated fraud, alienation of affection, attempted parental kidnapping. But Marcus, are you ready for the nuclear option? The nuclear option. We go public, file criminal charges for attempted financial theft, completely destroy her reputation. But once we take that route, there's no going back, no reconciliation. I thought about the 20 years I'd spent with Lisa, the highs, the lows. Emma and Jake asking why we'd been acting strange. Lisa's smile on our wedding day, so bright and full of hope, before life's disappointments hardened her heart. I just want to protect my kids and the assets I earned. If reconciliation is possible, I'm open to it, but not at the cost of being financially ruined. Then here's the refined strategy, David said, pulling out a timeline. We wait for Lisa to make the first move. Let her file the divorce papers. Let her try to move the money. The moment she commits fraud, we strike with overwhelming force. Criminal charges, emergency custody or DAREs, asset freezes, make the consequences so severe that settling becomes her only option. Perfect. Lisa thought she was playing chess while I was playing checkers. The reality was the opposite. Over the next 6 weeks, I maintained the perfect FA aid of a clueless husband. I attended Emma's school events, helped Jake with basketball practice, planned a Christmas like everything was normal. Lisa likely thought I was completely in the dark about her double life. Meanwhile, I was preparing airtight documentation, full financial records proving all legitimate assets, evidence of hidden accounts Lisa didn't know about school, and medical records for both kids, along with their preferences, testimonies from neighbors about Lisa's suspicious behavior, a professional psychological evaluation on the potential trauma of relocating the chilled Dren. Christmas Day 2023 felt surreal. Lisa gave me an expensive watch, probably a gift from a guilty conscience. I gave her the necklace she'd been eyeing for months. The kids were thrilled with their presents. From the outside, we looked like the perfect family. But I noticed something odd Lisa recording video messages. "Merry Christmas from our family to yours," she said, smiling brightly into the camera. Later, I found out she had sent those clips to Derek with the message, "Can't wait until next Christmas when it's just us." On New Year's Eve, Lisa suggested we attend a party at Elite Fitness. Derek invited all the members and their families. I thought it'd be fun to socialize a bit more. Huge red flag. She wanted me to meet Derek, probably to test my reaction or create the illusion of normalcy before her plan went into motion. "Sounds great," I replied. "I've been wanting to meet the guy who's helped you transform so much." Her smile twitched for a split second. She hadn't expected enthusiasm. The party was awkward as expected. Derek played the part of the charming professional trainer flawlessly. "Marcus, Lisa's told me so much about you. Air traffic control that must be intense." "It has its moments," I said, shaking his hand with a firm grip. "But I'm good at managing complex situations." I held his gaze, let him know I wasn't intimidated. Lisa seemed anxious all evening, probably worried I'd suspect something. But I played the perfect unsuspecting husband. I complimented the gym, talked fitness goals, even told Derek Lisa looked amazing lately. "Your wife has incredible discipline," Derek said. "She's made amazing progress." "Yes, she has," I replied with a smile. "Lisa's always all in when she sets her mind to something." On the drive home, Lisa was unusually quiet. "Fun party," I said. "Derek seems like a solid trainer. No wonder you enjoy working with him." "Yeah," she mumbled. "He's professional." I could tell she was analyzing me, trying to gauge if I knew. Time to knock her off balance. "Should we invite him over for dinner sometime? I mean, we're paying him so much. It might be good to get to know him better." Her eyes widened. "Oh, he's super busy. Probably wouldn't have time." "Just a thought. Anyway, ready for 2024. "Definitely ready for a fresh start," she whispered. If only she knew just how fresh her start was about to be. January 2024 brought a shift in Lisa's urgency. She filed for divorce on January 15th, exactly as outlined in her emails. I was served at work, creating an awkward moment with my colleagues. But I had anticipated it and prepared my emotional response. "I'm sorry, Marcus," the sheriff's deputy said, handing me the documents. "I hate having to serve these at someone's workplace." "Thank you, officer. You're just doing your job." Lisa's petition was aggressive. She demanded immediate separation, temporary alimony, emergency access to marital funds for living expenses, and temporary custody of the children, with permission to relocate them to Florida for better opportunities. She was going all in from the start. That evening, I came home to find Lisa packing bags. "Marcus, we need to talk," she said without making eye contact. "I know you got the papers today." "Yes, I did." My voice was calm and controlled. "Look, this doesn't have to get ugly. We can work out a fair arrangement. You keep the house, I'll just take enough to start over. The kids can spend summers with you. And where are you planning to start over? A brief pause. I'm exploring options. Maybe somewhere warmer. With Derek? Lisa's face turned pale. What are you talking about? Your personal trainer? The one you've been having an affair with for the last 18 months? Long silence. She set down the clothes she was folding. How long have you known long enough? The real question is, how long have you been planning to steal our money and kidnap our kids? I'm not stealing anything. It's half mine. Including the money you've already spent on Derek's business venture in Miami. The security deposit for an apartment you'll never live in. Lisa looked at me like I was a stranger. You had me followed. You left me no choice but to protect our family. Did you really think you could plan an Alabo raid escape with your boyfriend, and I wouldn't notice? She switched tactics. Marcus, I know this hurts, but our marriage has been over for years. We've just been going through the motions. Derek makes me feel alive again. And what about Emma and Jake? They'll adjust. Kids are resilient. Florida has great schools and great opportunities. You asked them if they wanted to move. Another pause. She realized she had just admitted to planning the relocation. This conversation is over, she said, going back to packing. My attorney will handle everything from now on. Good idea, so will mine. The next morning, David filed our response. Not just a defense, but a counterattack. Demanded emergency custody due to Lisa's attempt to relocate the children against their wishes. Filed a criminal complaint for attempted theft of marital assets. Requested immediate asset freeze pending investigation. Sought a restraining order, preventing Lisa from removing the children from Cook County countersued for divorce on the grounds of adultery and financial misconduct. But the centerpiece was a civil suit against Derek for alienation of affection and intentional interference with a marital relationship. Illinois allows a spouse to sue a third party who deliberately sabotages a marriage. Derek was now facing personal liability. Lisa's attorney, Mr. Smith, called David that afternoon. Your client is being vindictive, he said. These criminal allegations are baseless intimidation tactics. My client has documentation of planned theft and child abduction, David replied. If Mrs. Chen thinks this is vindictive, she hasn't seen anything yet. The emergency hearing was set for January 22nd. Judge Patricia Williams would preside, known for being tough on parents who try to relocate children during divorce. Lisa arrived with Smith looking confident. She probably thought the court would grant temporary relief and unlock the funds. David presented our case methodically. Emails detailing the plan to extract money and relocate bank records showing suspicious cash withdrawals. Statements from the children expressing they didn't want to move Derek's financial records showing he couldn't fund the Miami venture without outside money. A timeline proving premeditation. Your Honor. David concluded, this is not a case of a marriage simply falling apart. This is calculated financial fraud disguised as a divorce. Smith attempted damage control. My client is the victim of a controlling husband who spied on her illegally and is now trying to punish her for wanting freedom. Judge Williams looked unimpressed. Mr. Smith, she said dryly, freedom does not include the right to steal marital assets and relocate children against their will. I'm granting all of the plaintiff's emergency motions. Mrs. Chen is hereby prohibited from accessing any marital accounts until a full financial disclosure is pleaded. The children will remain in the family home with their father. Mrs. Chen may have supervised visitation pending a psychological evaluation. Lisa's face was heartbreaking to watch, her perfect plan unraveling in real time. But the judge wasn't done. Furthermore, she continued, Mrs. Chen is ordered to return all marital funds spent for non-marital purposes. Bank records show $15,000 withdrawn in cash over the last 60 days. Mrs. Chen will account for every dollar. Outside the courthouse, Lisa finally broke. "Marcus, please," she said through tears. "Can we talk privately?" "Through attorneys only," I replied. "You made your choice." "I never meant for it to go this far," Derek said. "Derek used you, just like you used me." That evening, Ray Morrison called with an update. "Derek Kowalski's gone. Left Chicago yesterday, drove south. No forwarding address at the gym." Perfect. The moment things got hard, Derek bailed just like I knew he would. And now, Lisa would face the fallout. Alone. With Derek gone and the legal system turning against her, Lisa's options rapidly dwindled. She tried calling me directly, violating the court order. "Marcus, I know you're angry, but please be reasonable. The kids need their mother." "The kids need an honest parent," I replied. "You plan to uproot their lives for a selfish fantasy." It wasn't a fantasy. Derek and I loved each other. "Where's Derek now, Lisa?" Silence. "Exactly. He vanished the moment things got real, left you holding the bag." The financial discovery phase uncovered even more devastating truths. Lisa had been siphoning money for months. Not just the $15,000 from recent weeks, but $47,000 total over the course of the affair. All funneled to Derek through various channels: cash payments for extended training sessions, nutrition consulting, even equipment purchases. David filed a motion for contempt of court. "Your Honor, Mrs. Chen has been systematically depleting marital assets to fund her boyfriend's business while lying to her husband about the nature of these expenses." During deposition, Lisa's narrative fell apart. "Mrs. Chen, you stated the $8,000 payment to Mr. Kowalski was for a nutrition program. Can you provide any materials from that program?" The materials were digital, online access. "And yet, Mr. Kowalski's business records show no nutrition certifications or programs offered." "This was a personal payment, wasn't it?" "I don't remember exactly." "Mrs. Chen, these payments coincide with hotel receipts from the downtown Marriott. Were you paying Mr. Kowalski for sexual services?" Her attorney objected aggressively, but the damage was already done. The pattern was clear to everyone in the room. Meanwhile, the children's therapist, Dr. Sarah Martinez, interviewed Emma and Jake about their preferences regarding relocation. The results were definitive. Both children expressed strong opposition to leaving Chicago. Emma specifically stated that moving during her senior year would be devastating. Jake voiced fears of losing his friends and basketball opportunities. Neither child expressed a desire to live primarily with their mother, citing her recent behavioral changes and secretiveness. But the real breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Emma found Lisa's hidden phone, a second device used exclusively to communicate with Derek. Even after he ghosted her, Lisa had kept calling, leaving increasingly desperate voicemails. "Derek, baby, please call me back. I can fix this. We can still make Miami work." "Derek, I don't understand why you won't answer. We had plans. We were supposed to be together." "Fine, be a coward, but I gave up everything for you." "Everything?" Emma brought me the phone torn. "Dad, should I feel bad for Mom?" "You can feel bad about the situation," I said. "But remember, Mom made choices that hurt all of us. Her happiness isn't your responsibility." David used the voicemails to reinforce Lisa's ongoing emotional entanglement with Derek, undermining her claim that she was now focused solely on her children. By March, Lisa's legal position was collapsing. Her attorney, Mr. Smith, proposed a settlement. "My client will accept 30% of the disclosed assets and supervised visitation in exchange for dropping all criminal charges." David didn't blink. Counteroffer 20% of disclosed assets. No alimony. Standard visitation rights. Take it or we go to trial where she walks away with nothing. Lisa had lost everything. No boyfriend, no money. Limited access to her children. A looming criminal case. She had nowhere left to turn. The final settlement meeting was brutal. Lisa looked like she'd aged years in just a few months. She was thinner with premature gray in her hair and deep lines around her eyes. She sat across from me quietly signing papers that dissolved 20 years of marriage in a matter of hours. "Marcus," she whispered as the attorneys finalized the paperwork. "I'm sorry. I know it doesn't fix anything, but I am sorry." Sorry for what specifically? For throwing away our family. For hurting the kids. For being selfish. Not sorry for Derek. She looked down. Derek never loved me. He just wanted money. I was a fool to believe otherwise. Yes, you were. Harsh, maybe. But she needed to confront the truth behind the wreckage she caused. With Derek gone and the legal system closing in, Lisa's world collapsed fast. She moved into a small apartment in Palatine and took a receptionist job at a dental office. A far cry from the life she once envisioned in Miami Beach. She had visitation with the kids every other weekend, supervised by a court-appointed monitor until therapy confirmed she was emotionally stable. Derek never contacted her again. His social media showed him living in Miami, working at his brother's gym, and dating a 23-year-old Instagram influencer. Just another conquest. Another financial opportunity. Lisa had been disposable to him all along. Emma and Jake adjusted well to the new normal. Emma got accepted into Northwestern University with a substantial scholarship. Jake made the varsity basketball team and thrived in the stable, consistent environment I provided. They visited Lisa occasionally, but the relationship remained distant. "She's still our mom," Emma told me one night, "but she feels different now, like a stranger wearing mom's face." "People change," I said. "Not always for the better. But that doesn't mean you stop loving them. It just means you protect yourselves." I didn't remarry right away. I focused on healing, and on becoming the present grounded there I should have been all along. I sold the house in Schaumburg, too many memories. Bought a smaller place in Arlington Heights, closer to the kids' schools. 2 years after the divorce, I met Catherine L. Pez at Emma's graduation party. She was a fellow parent, a single mom, who had raised her son alone after her husband passed away. We connected over shared values and the experience of putting our children above everything else. "You seem very careful," Catherine said on our first official date. "I am. Bad experience makes you cautious. Good. Careful is better than careless." We married 18 months later in a small ceremony with just our immediate families. Emma hugged Catherine afterward and whispered, "Thank you for making Dad happy again." Lisa attended Emma's wedding 4 years later. She looked older, quieter, humbled by the consequences of her choices. She brought a modest gift and stayed briefly for the reception. "Congratulations," she told me during a quiet moment. "You raised an amazing daughter." "We both did," I replied, "during the good years." "Yeah, the good years." Lisa smiled sadly. "Those were real, weren't they? Before I ruined everything. They were real. As for Derek, justice eventually found him. An FBI investigation revealed he'd been running romance scams across several states targeting older women with money. He was charged feeder ally with wire fraud, conspiracy, and money laundering. 15 years in federal prison. Lisa testified against him, finally seeing him for what he was. "He told me I was special," she said after the sentencing. "That we had a connection no one else could offer him. Turns out he said the exact same thing to 12 other women. I didn't feel satisfaction, just relief. Relief that he couldn't harm anyone else's family. 10 years later, I retired from air traffic control with a full pension. Emma became a doctor, Jake a successful engineer. Both married wonderful people and gave Catherine and me grandchildren to spoil. Lisa eventually remarried a widower who owned a small restaurant in Des Plaines. It wasn't glamorous or exciting, but it was kind, stable. She seemed content with a quieter life, though her relationship with the kids remained limited. One evening, Catherine and I were watching the sunset from our back deck. She turned to me and asked, "Do you ever regret how things ended?" "I regret the pain," I said. "I regret how it hurt the kids, but I don't regret protecting what Matt irritated most." And if Lisa had just been honest from the beginning, told you she wanted out instead of planning some elaborate escape, I thought about it. Probably would have worked out amicably. We could have shared custody, split things fairly, maybe even maintained a healthy family dynamic. But her deception, her betrayal, made that impossible. Looking back, Lisa's biggest mistake wasn't falling out of love with me. Marriages end for a lot of reasons. Her mistake was choosing deceit over honesty, manipulation over communication, selfishness over responsibility. She could have simply said, "Marcus, I'm unhappy. I need space. I need to figure out what I want." It would have hurt, but I would have respected her honesty. Instead, she chose an elaborate scheme designed to maximize her gain while minimizing my ability to protect myself. That wasn't a marital breakdown. That was warfare. And in warfare, the person with the better strategy, the better intel, and the better preparation usually wins. Lisa thought she was playing some sophisticated game, but she forgot who she was playing against. I was trained to handle life or death emergencies. My job required me to monitor multiple moving variables, anticipate worst-case scenarios, and stay calm under pressure. Her sophisticated plan. It was amateur hour compared to the protocols I used every single day. In the end, Lisa learned the hard way. Actions have consequences. Choices have prices. And sometimes the person you're trying to deceive is far more prepared than you ever imagined. As for me, I learned too. Trust but verify. Talk early about problems. Don't ignore red flags and hope they'll go away. And when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Lisa showed me she was willing to lie, steal, and manipulate to get what she wanted. I should have acted on that knowledge sooner. But maybe things unfolded exactly as they needed to. Emma and Jake got a father who finally prioritized their well-being. Catherine and I found love built on respect instead of illusion. And even Lisa eventually found peace in a simpler, more honest life. Sometimes, when families built on lies fall apart, everyone ends up better off. Truth has a way of setting people free, even if that freedom comes with a painful price. Lisa thought she was taking flight toward a better life. Instead, she learned about the cost of poor navigation. And I learned that sometimes the best way to save a situation is to let it crash safely, rather than trying to hold together something that was never built to last. Because that's what air traffic controllers do. We don't prevent every crash, we prevent the unnecessary ones. And when a plane does go down, we make sure it lands with minimal collateral damage. Lisa wanted to crash our marriage. Fine. But she wasn't taking our children and our future down with her. Looking back a decade later, I want to share some critical lessons, not just for men, but for anyone in a relationship. 1. Trust, but always verify. In air traffic control, we have a saying, trust but verify. You trust the pilot to stay on course, but you always watch the radar to confirm. Marriage works the same way. Trust is essential, but when red flags appear, verifying isn't betrayal, It's your duty to protect your family. 2. Always have a backup plan. Lisa thought I was Navi because I never doubted her before. The truth is, separating some as sets wasn't about suspicion, it was habit. In my profession, we always have contingency plans. In marriage, your family's finances are a system worth safeguarding. 3. Pay attention to behavioral shifts. Sudden changes in habits, gym obsession, wardrobe shifts, secretive communication, hiding spending, using cash instead of shared credit cards, heightened phone secrecy, new passwords screen always face down, sudden interest in family finances, casual mentions of fresh start or new opportunities in a different city. These aren't just quirks, they're signals. 4. Protect your assets. Legally, some think separating finances is a sign of mistrust. In reality, it's just smart financial planning. Diversify your banking relationships. Maintain separate emergency funds. Invest in assets that aren't easily liquidated. Keep detailed records of every transaction. 5. Children. Notice first. Emma and Jake picked up on Lisa's odd behavior long before I did. Kids are incredibly perceptive. If your child starts asking unusual questions about family security or stability, pay attention. 6. Documentation is everything. In court, emotions mean nothing. Evidence wins cases. I didn't win because I was the victim. I won because I could prove every allegation. Document financial records, communication patterns, behavioral shifts, children's expressed preferences. Timeline of suspicious activity. 7. Timing is strategy. Lisa tried to control the timeline to gain an advantage. I flipped the script and forced her to reveal her hand early. In conflict, who controls the timeline often controls the outcome. 8. Professional help is an investment, not an expense. Private investigator, $5,000 attorney fees, $15,000 financial advisor, $2,000 child psychologist, $3,000 total $25,000 to protect $470,000 in assets and secure full custody. ROI 1,780%, best investment I've ever made. 9. Emotional intelligence outlasts physical attraction. Derek was younger, fitter, flashier. But he was also a narcissist who only cared about money. Lisa mistook excitement for connection. Long-term love requires emotional depth, not just chemistry. 10. Actions have consequences. Lisa believed society would shield her from the fallout of her choices, but empowerment doesn't mean immunity from accountability. She hurt her children, violated trust, attempted financial theft. And the court didn't care about gender, it cared about conduct. For wives watching this video, if you feel trapped in your marriage and are considering an affair or secret escape, don't. Start with honest communication. Tell your husband how you feel, suggest therapy, talk openly about separation if needed. If Lisa had done that, she could have walked away with 50% of assets, shared custody, and intact relationships. Instead, she ended up with 20% limited visitation and estranged children. Deception always costs more than honesty. For husbands who are suspicious, if you recognize the warning signs I've mentioned, 1. Stay calm. Don't confront prematurely. 2. Document everything. Emails, photos, bank records, timeline. 3. Legally protect your assets, consult an attorney ASAP. 4. Think of your children first, their well-being comes above all. 5. Seek professional help, PI, lawyer, family therapist. 6. Prepare for multiple outcomes, reconciliation, or divorce. You're not trying to punish her. You're preparing to make informed decisions about your family's future. Final thoughts. Lisa's betrayal taught me love without respect is meaningless. She said she loved me, but she didn't respect me enough to be honest. True love means telling the truth even when it's hard. respecting your partner's effort, taking responsibility, staying loyal when things get tough. Derek gave Lisa excitement and flattery. I gave her partnership and stability. She chose excitement and lost everything. Catherine gives me both. Because our relationship is built on mutual respect and open communication. We talk things through. We don't plot behind each other's backs. The ultimate lesson. Marriages don't fail because people fall out of love. They fail because people stop being honest. If Lisa had simply said, "Marcus, I'm unhappy. I need to figure things out," we could have worked through it or parted peacefully. Instead, she chose lies and manipulation and faced consequences she never saw coming. Sometimes the person you're trying to deceive has spent decades professionally trained to spot deception, anticipate outcomes, and plan for the worst. Sometimes they're far more prepared than you realize, and sometimes the best defense against betrayal is being the person who always thinks ahead. Lisa learned that lesson too late. Hopefully others will learn it in time. Trust, but verify. Plan for the best. Prepare for the worst. And never underestimate someone whose job is to prevent disasters. That's what 22 years in air traffic control and 20 years of marriage taught me.